It's October 2025, and the VCS store has become fairly full of smaller indie games and homebrews, which isn't a bad thing, but it's led to a bit of a quandary when it comes to spending limited gaming dollars. Is whatever particular game worth it? Is it any good? There have been some number of games released in the VCS store over the past couple of years that, while their heart may be in the right place, they just aren't worth your time or money. There are plenty of good games to be had for sure, but 8-Bit Bakery has a $15 price tag, and you might ask yourself if it's worth it. The answer is a resounding yes, as 8-Bit Bakery is one of the best games released in 2025 for the VCS. This is a must-buy because while it borrows from 1980s Maze arcade games, especially Super Pac-Man, 8-Bit Bakery doesn't play like anything else in the VCS store. This is a classic, refined, and truly excellent maze chase action game with tons of challenge and variety. In addition to more than a half dozen different maze types, there's two-player co-op with a competitive high-score feature, practice modes, options for accessibility and video, and perhaps most excitingly on the VCS, online leaderboards for each of its 3 difficulty modes, and an online weekly challenge that pits you against random and potentially very difficult levels. It's the small things that make this game fun to play, including solid controls and a learning curve that can be played like Pac-Man, but which opens up once you realize you can actually select your path ahead of time. The last direction pushed is the direction you'll go at the next intersection, and it's by design as stated in the help menu. This lets you plan ahead and even change your decision up to the final moment. You get bonus points for completing objectives at the end of each level, including eating enough donuts, completing a level quickly, and for not using a donut power-up, among others. The game is tough, and I've yet to get particularly far. I found Expert to be challenging but fun. Much of this video features Expert difficulty gameplay. Another thing that makes 8-Bit Bakery unique is its support for the CX stick, a play-on-made USB 2600 joystick with additional buttons and features meant not just for PC, but also for the 400 Mini, the C64 Mini, and the C64. Getting it to work proved a challenge, but thanks in part to some direct assistance from the developer, I got it working great, and I'll tell you how. The issue is that the CX stick is not supported in Atari OS, only from inside of 8-Bit Bakery, so you'll need to launch the game using one control method, then play the game with the CX stick. However, if another controller is connected when in-game in 8-Bit Bakery, whether wired or Bluetooth, the CX stick will not steer during a game. To get it working, turn off the other controller from inside of the game. That proved tough for me since I was using a Bluetooth wireless modern, and turning it off meant pushing the Fuji button, which then called up the Atari OS pause menu, which I could then not turn off with the CX stick. To get it working, I had to use the Atari OS app on my phone, but I bet a keyboard would work too, or a wired modern you then unplugged. One other note, if the CX stick is plugged in when the VCS initially boots up, the Bluetooth connection won't kick in until you unplug the CX stick. Is all that worth it? Absolutely. I found the CX stick to be the clear control winner. The classic joystick is also supported and works well, but I found the tight stick of the 2600 style CX stick to be more accurate than the lighter touch needed for the classic. Using the modern's thumbstick worked as well as any 4-direction maze game works with that kind of control, which is to say okay, but not best. The developer of 8-Bit Bakery, Shiphaven Games, told me in an email that 8-Bit Bakery was made for a community that understands retro gaming. He also tells me while the game could work on mobile or other platforms, in part because it was made in Game Maker Studio, 8-Bit Bakery is currently only available on the VCS. There are also a couple of Easter eggs, one of which I found on my own and one of which the developer mentioned to me, but Shiphaven politely asked me to consider keeping it a secret, and that feels right to do so. If you find them, you'll know because you get an unlock. Finally, Shiphaven did suggest that I make sure to let you know the cooperative experience was carefully considered and designed, and something he felt quite happy with. Sadly, though, I just have not been in a position to get a second player to record gameplay for this video. I'll assume he's correct, and it's excellent as well. The developer has stated publicly that this game was an 8-year development project, so the $15 price tag is small for the amount of work put into it. That said, no one wants to pay $15 for a bad or even maybe okay game, or for a game they might not like, and we live in a world of sub-$10 indie games. So, let me assure you that if you like Maze arcade games, you will love 8-Bit Bakery. Thanks for watching. This channel is where I make videos about video game content, and it's almost entirely focused on the Atari VCS. At this point, I'm only making videos on games I feel particularly compelled to tell others about, but if that sounds good to you, please like and subscribe. The Atari VCS is heading into its 5th anniversary in December, and still going relatively strong, even if publishing has slowed a bit. I've been here since the start, so check this channel to learn about a bunch of games on the VCS. Have fun.